What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Around the Yellowhorn. I'm sitting here with one of my favorite streamers, one of the late night demons in the community, my guy, King Kov. We're going to hype him up a little bit. You guys are going to get a chance to sit down with him, learn about, who he is, what he does, what teams he represents, why he's a fan of those teams. And, we will get to even talk about the first Giants victory of the year, too.
Wild. It was
now,
wild.
So me and Kov were in a Discord call for about 20 minutes trying to figure out like our audio at the beginning of this thing off stream, and I can already tell, guys, from how good our conversation was, that this is going to be a good episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've already learned at least 15 new things about him off stream in the last half hour, so you guys are going to learn a ton about him. But honestly, I'm just excited to be able to sit down with you, man. I really appreciate you accepting the invite to be on the podcast. Second guest on the show, so you're right in at the ground level. We still don't know how to run a podcast, and you're in here dealing with it with us. So I appreciate you, man.
No, man, I appreciate it, bro. When you sent me that DM on Twitter, I was like, wow, just to be able to get this opportunity is just awesome. Because like I said, I have so much respect for you and your community. So to be able to just be a part of this, man, I'm super excited, man. I really am.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words, man. We do have like a pretty awesome community around here, and that's one thing. Like I want to kind of showcase streamers who everybody might not know about yet, but like I said to you off stream too, it's like I'm glad I'm getting a chance to get you at this level before you get to Hollywood to appear on a small time podcast like this.
I appreciate that, man.
Hey, of course, man. And honestly, I guess what I wanted to talk about first, we'll have plenty of time to talk sports, talk about,
Sure.
I know you're a big-time Giants fan, big-time Mets fan, big-time Knicks fan, so you're I guess what we would consider a homer. But
yes.
Yeah, I want to figure out, so where is it that you're from? So I'm assuming you're New York State or New Jersey, if you're...
Right, it's actually, I say it all the time. I get made fun of my stream. I'm always saying, just a kid from upstate New York. Trust me, everybody from my stream knows. They always make fun of me. But I mean, if you know Albany, I'm probably like half hour.
Okay, nice. So Albany is actually pretty close to where I'm at. Like I'm sure it wouldn't be that far of a drive because I'm not too far from Buffalo. Buffalo's upstate New York too. So we're really probably as close to neighbors as you get.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I've even like talked to Evo. I think Evo's from Pennsylvania. It's like, man, dude, they ain't far, man. Like we gotta make something happen even like before TwitchCon stuff.
Oh, 100%, man. And honestly, like, I know Fendler, too, I think, went to Albany, played there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fendler, like, probably is, like, a half hour, 45 minutes from my house. Maybe
yeah.
Not. Maybe
no
not
kidding, man. So the Albany
really
roots run strong throughout Twitch. It's kind of like how there's a bunch of streamers. We got Luch and Adam in the chat right now who are, like, from the Toronto area. We got all the Albany guys. It seems like a perfect storm to head out, and I would say watch a Bills game because that's closer to us, but obviously a Giants game would be pretty dope too. If you could get something going down the road.
It's so like normal though when people hear I'm from New York, they think I'm in the city, but it's so much different up here than it is down there, man.
Yeah, for sure. Different. Yeah. So now speaking of that, like, do you spend a lot of time like how? Like, is New York City like a destination for you? Or is it like New York's a pretty big state? So
I just like going to like the Garden and stuff like that. But no, I've been there so many times when I was younger. Like I don't go to New York City, to see New York City. I go there for like if it's a game, just be in the Garden, man. The Garden's whether it's a concert or whatever. I've been there for concerts, Knicks games, and stuff like that. So just being in the city that is pretty much the only thing I really go down the city for. It's a hectic city.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like for me.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely. Like the Garden's one place I've never been to. I've been to Yankee Stadium before, but the Yankees were out of town when I was there, so I went up to the Bronx and checked out. It was the new Yankee Stadium, so I never saw the old one before they tore it down. Right. It's pretty cool though. Like the you can kind of see through the gift shop. You can see into the area where everyone can walk around a bit.
Yeah,
That's one thing on my bucket list. Watch a game at Yankee Stadium, and since the Jays are in the same division, it's something that happens. Quite a few times a year. We play each other a ton. But that's one thing I wanted to ask you about is so, like obviously the Knicks are New York's team. Obviously the Giant. Like so, how does it with New York having so many multiple sports teams? How do you decide who you're going to root for? Because you would think by geography you'd be a Bills fan.
Right. It's it all speaks to my family roots, man. Like my dad's a Giants fan. My dad. It's just been a whole line. Like literally my entire family is either Giants, Knicks, or Yankees, or Mets, or whatever. It gets spread around and like that, but there's not too many family members outside of like the fan bases that I like. So it's all family, man.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's all family.
For sure. So, yeah, and that's one thing. Like for a lot of the Canadian fans, I know a lot of the Canadians seem to be Cowboys fans, at least on Twitch, and it's all passed down from family. My, I don't know if you know this, but in Canada we have the CFL, which is a subpar professional football league. A lot of guys who are big name players in college football in the States. I don't watch a whole ton of college because it's just like
I don't either.
Yeah, it's tough to fit in. There's like 117 Division 1A teams. Like, who do you follow? And there's like, you already have so many other commitments being a fan of all the other big three or big four sports. Are you a hockey fan as well?
I am. I was really big into the Rangers when they were making a couple of their East Finals, and I think they got to the Stanley Cup a few years back and lost to the Kings, I think it was. I got really into when they were making the playoffs, and the last few years definitely.
Yeah. Nice.
Because playoff hockey is where it's at.
Yeah, like hockey, it's one of the weird things. Like as a Canadian, pretty much 95% of Canadians really love hockey, and that's like the primary sport number one. Like I know Luch on his streams will be wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs hat. My dad is a diehard Leaf fan. He remembers when the Leafs were still good. Back in 1967, they won their last Stanley Cup. It's been, for one of the storied franchises, it's kind of, that's kind of the going thing here, is like how the Leafs have been so incredibly bad for so incredibly long.
Weren't they like up 3-1 in this past playoff?
You know what? The Leafs. There's a thing I saw actually on Amazon Video. Like there's like it looks like a Hard Knocks, but for NHL training camp. So this year, I guess they're doing one on the Leafs, and it's because like my knowledge of hockey from 2000 onwards, like you were probably just a baby when I used to watch hockey. Honestly. Yes. So my knowledge of I probably could name 3 players on the Leafs and maybe 4 players in the entire NHL right now.
I could have guessed a good player on there.
Yeah, for sure. But so is that the same for? So the other thing is like Yankees Mets, because that's one thing. What's the normal fan base? Is Yankees for the downtown? Because I think they're both in the city too, right?
Right. You got the Queens and Bronx, but as far as what happened for me, me and my family, as far as all of us baseball fans, it's me and my dad and our good family friend John. We're all diehard Mets, and then everybody else is Yankee fans. So we're kind of in a little small community. Yeah, there's not a lot of Mets fans up here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's with the I know Jerry Seinfeld is a Mets fan. I'm pretty sure Jerry Seinfeld's a Mets fan. He's the only famous Mets fan that I know of. So I wasn't sure if it was kind of an uptown downtown thing or whatever. But it's would you say that? So in your area, you're kind of standing out on an island with a whole bunch of Yankees fans living around you.
That's how it feels. I mean, there are Mets fans, but it's just the Yankees are just so popular in general.
Yeah.
It's just up from what I all my friends that are into baseball, all Yankees fans. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So. The Mets don't run as deep as you would think, at least not up in upstate New York.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was thinking maybe since we're kind of already talking, it was the Giants hat that kind of set me on this course. But maybe we can kind of start out the podcast talking a little bit about where your teams are at, and and then we can move on to kind of learning a little bit more about you and your stream and Madden a little bit later on. But I mean, who said that? Who says that a podcast needs to be all about video games? We can talk about whatever the heck we want to, right?
I feel like that's all we talk about is Madden, so it's always cool to kind of a little bit. But.
For sure, yeah. So what about, first of all, let's since you're wearing the Giants hat, let's talk about this week's game. How did it go for you guys? What happened?
It was just completely up and down, man. Taysom Hill absolutely destroyed the Giants' defensive line all game, but they went down 11 with 7 minutes left. DJ just clicked it on, man, and literally 2 other touchdowns today were one-play touchdowns to start the drive. So Saquon had a big day. And the defense hung on to give Graham Gano an opportunity to tie the game with 30 seconds left, and they went into overtime. And the Angels just drove down the field, man. He had 402 yards.
Wow.
He had a pick, but it was on a Hail Mary. So
that's wild, man. Holy cow! So 400 passing yards for Danny Dimes. That's nuts. And they were 0-3 up till that point as well. Had there been a game this season, because I haven't actually caught a Giants game yet this year, had there been any game that they had a legit chance to win, or was it kind of they were just not really clicking on all cylinders at all yet this year?
Week 1 was a little bit of a disaster piece. I mean, they just didn't show up in the second half. But week 2 on Thursday Night Football against Washington, they were up by a point. Washington was going for a game-winning field goal as time expired. They missed it. Offsides was called, then they ended up drilling it, so that's how I lost. And as you know, I was at the game last week for the Falcons game, and they gave up 10 points in the last 5 minutes.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, So
Yeah.
they almost lost 3 straight weeks. If they didn't win today in overtime, most likely the Saints would have ended up winning on a field goal. So we almost
Yeah.
went 3 straight weeks on
Yeah.
losing on giving a field goal. So it's, I'm gonna be biased. People are gonna be like the Giants are awful, and they definitely have things that they have to work.
Yeah.
Their
But
two other losses are 4 points combined. So
yeah.
it is what it is, man.
Oh, for sure, and with the division that you're in, like being in the NFC East too, the Eagles played the Chiefs today. They lost to the Chiefs. Like, in my opinion, I mean, the Cowboys looked strong today. They were
Cowboys are
losing
good.
early. Cowboys had like 36. It was a flood job in the second half. So
Yes,
I'd
Cowboys are good.
say Cowboys would be the popular choice to win the division this year. It looks like.
Absolutely.
And then you get three teams that are kind of younger and in transition with young quarterbacks and
Absolutely.
or question marks at quarterback. But in your opinion, do you think that Danny Dimes is like a franchise quarterback? Like, are you rolling with him no matter what, or are you like, yeah,
Hey man, like I said, my Twitter speaks for itself when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I'm probably like one of the only Daniel Jones lovers when it comes to certain things. Even when he's doing bad, I ride with him. I do.
yeah,
I mean, I had this. I was watching the same quarterback for 16 years, and the New York media tore Eli Manning apart, whether
Yeah.
he's winning games or losing games. So I expect the same for DJ. But I ride with him, man. I think the kid has so much potential. If he
yeah,
stops turning the ball over, gets a little more time in the pocket. I mean, today was a perfect example of that. So
yeah, absolutely. And
I am with Daniel.
yeah, oh, you're with Daniel. Let's go. I love that.
I'm with him, baby. I'm with him, man.
You stand with him, and you know what? I'm kind of the same way with. For some reason, the Vikings. Maybe it's because they're not geographically close to me. Like I have always been a little bit, hesitant to put my faith in Kirk Cousins. I thought he was a great addition because our defense was so good at that point that I thought we just needed a game manager. But now, like he's playing well this year for the Vikings for sure. It hasn't been his fault that we've been losing games.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and I'll tell you what, the Browns defense is legit because the amount of pressure they were getting on us today with a 4-man rush was insane. It was like they have some dogs up front. So
Well,
um,
another team with you guys, the same thing with us. It's like 2 games you lost the field
Yeah.
goals, whether it's
It's-
a missed field goal or whatever, man.
it's
brutal.
it's weird. Like I was feeling really, when we were 0-2, I was like, we're the best 0-2 team in the league right now because I felt
Yep.
like we legitimately had a chance to win both games. Had some
Absolutely.
really unfortunate things happen. When we were
Absolutely.
1-2, I was like, this is great. We're in a great spot right now. And now to go, but this week is the first week where we really got bullied, even though it was a close game and it was only a 7-point win. I felt like this week now it's like, okay, well now we're a 1-3 team. So like we have to,
Right.
you can only have these moral victories so many times, and then when you look
For
at it,
sure.
you're winning 25% of your games. It's going to be an uphill battle.
No, 100%, man.
And I don't
I
think.
am. I'm awful with it though, man. Like, and the Giants are 1-3, bro. And after they won today, you would have thought that they just won like the division or won a playoff.
Yeah.
I'm literally running around my house like a sicko.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I take them small wins, even if
Yeah, no, I totally hear you, man. I'm with you on that. And it looks like the video was getting choppy a little bit, but can you still hear me okay?
Oh yeah, you're
All right, beautiful. We're good to
go.
go. So yeah, and speaking of that, like that kind of idea of being with the team that's in a transition, like that reminds me of my NBA experience, where the Raptors for my entire childhood were so bad for so long, and
Right.
I still rode with them like crazy. Like I loved, a lot of our guys would be nothing more than a role player on another like championship team, but I still would watch every game. I would still root for them, and you can still. That's the beautiful thing about sports. You can still find good moments in a season where you might, only win, 25% of your games. A win still
Right,
does
for
mean
sure.
a lot.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of get used to those moral victories when you're a fan of a team in transition. But what about with the Giants? Like, so Saquon Barkley is obviously a player that in college, and seeing his videos, his workout videos, what he did in the gym in college, like this guy's a freak, like genetical freak.
Yeah,
What
for sure.
what do you and when I saw him, he like kind of, he was one of the only running backs in recent years kind of taken super high in the draft, and I thought it was a good pick too because he's a workhorse, but he's dealt with like some injury issues like for the first few years in the league.
Yep.
What have you seen from him so far in your career? Like where do you think he's headed? Like what do you think his legacy is going to be when it's all said and done?
Right.
Even though he's super young now.
I think as long as he's healthy, man. I mean, even when he is healthy, Giants fans have this. They get on him. That's the thing about just New York media in general is, Giants fans, whatever fan or whatever. You're getting on guys if they're not performing, and like we all know Saquon can ball. We all know Saquon has potential to be the best running back in the league.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one thing that kind of sucks for him is he's always trying to do too much. You know what I mean? He's always trying to move around too much. When if he just runs, he's burning past anybody.
Yeah.
So I think if he just kind of just learns to obviously the offensive line is always a factor in that. But if he can just learn to just, I know it sounds weird, but just run. Like no, you know what I mean? But that is just like he's literally built different. Like I don't think we've ever seen a halfback like with thighs like that. You know what I mean? Like his calves. Yeah, the dude's crazy.
It's insane. And like I remember seeing him like power cleaning amounts that like offensive linemen wouldn't be able to do. Like this guy is this guy's probably like 0.2% body fat, which I always wonder too. And my coaches in high school would tell us, like, for the guys, like the safeties, the running backs, like, the lean type players, he was always like, in cold weather games for those super lean guys, that they have a lot, a really good chance to have their muscles seize up on them. Like, for guys that have a little bit of extra weight on them or a little bit of extra fat, it kind of insulates them a little bit from some of these injuries. So I was wondering when he kept on getting these like hamstring issues and stuff, I was like, is he too ripped? Yeah. Like, does he need to just go eat some chips, sit on the couch a little bit, and like maybe, but who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, but as far as like a legacy thing goes, it is based on that health. If he does stay healthy for, whatever amount of years, then I think he has potential to be at least one of the best, Giants running backs of all time.
100%. Sure. I completely agree with that. And we just got a big time raid from my guy, I Am Dino. Shout out to I Am Dino. We'll get that on the YouTube too.
My man Dino.
Let's
go.
My
man Dino. Let's go. Love
Legendary.
That,
I'm trying to shout him out here, but hopefully if the mods can take care of that. But appreciate the love.
Another amazing guy. Another amazing guy, man.
Let's go. Yeah, he is amazing. I gotta say, like, he's somebody who would love to get into the hot seat at 1.2. But
that's what I was saying. What I was saying to you before we started. I was like, listen, we're talking about who you get on the next episode. I'm like, guys like Dino are definitely one that you should definitely be talking about for sure.
100%, man. But so we talked a little bit about the Giants. Now, so you were how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I turned 23 last June.
Okay, nice. So you still have memories of like the two Giants Super Bowls? Like what are your memories of those years? Because they were crazy. They were Cinderella stories. Like they were never the powerhouse that was expected to win in either of those 2 years.
Oh man, I mean even in 2011, 2012, the Giants had the 27th ranked defense and the 31st ranked rushing attack. Like they weren't
wild.
Supposed, you know what I mean? When I was in high school, I always got kind of like laughed at for being my freshman year in high school. You know, like that's when
Oh, that's
so in school, I always got laughed at. You know what I mean? So when they eventually did win the Super Bowl, like it was either freshman or sophomore year, I don't remember, but but I think it was 9 years old when they beat the Pats the first time when they were undefeated, and it's just like
that was probably one of the most improbable Super Bowl. It seemed like it was perfectly set to have an undefeated season leading to a Super Bowl. I know the Miami Dolphins players from that like perfect team from back in the day were probably popping champagne when the Giants ended up pulling that one out.
Yeah, it's just and that Pats team was so stacked, man.
My God,
Samuel, Ronnie Harrison, obviously Brady. I mean, Brady is still in the prime. I would say Brady in his prime, but he's still.
Brady's a freak, man. This guy's a freak. I was probably, I might have been probably I feel like I would have been like a freshman in high school when Brady. 2003, I think. Is that when he came into the league and started taking? I don't. Maybe it's been longer than that now. I don't know.
I want to say. I mean, he's been in the league 20 years. So
because I was gonna say because I remember him taking over for Drew Bledsoe and like you could have never predicted the career tangent that he would have gone on and to become so dominant. I think that's got to make the Super Bowl that much more special for you guys that you took one away from a prime Tom Brady. He could have 8 rings right now. If it wasn't for you guys.
9. We beat him twice. He could have 9 rings.
Oh my God, you're right, and for sure, and obviously, like one of the memories, like I think one of the iconic things from, I've been personally, and you're probably gonna hate me for this. I don't know if you've been in my stream when I've talked about this. I'm really, I already know you're gonna hate this. I really with Eli Manning, I think he's a very divisive player. Like 2 rings, you cannot take that away from him, and that's
for sure.
As far as Hall of Fame status goes. Like how many quarterbacks have won 2 Super Bowls and not made the Hall of Fame? So I really do think there's a very real scenario that he ends up there. And then I look at the era that he played in with quarterbacks putting up these crazy stats, and then I look at. I'm like, does Eli have one statistical season that kind of stands out where he was like a top 5 QB in the league?
Right.
Like where do you think he stands? What's his legacy?
Right.
You?
I mean, that's the thing. That's like, the argument always is, what year was Eli ever a top 5 quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Yeah. When? Yeah.
Because like when the Giants won those 2 Super Bowls, man, it wasn't like Eli was putting up 400 yards, 14. It wasn't
Yeah.
like that. They would just like get
Grind
by
him
and
out.
move on. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
for me, it's just you spent 16 years with the same team. He
Yeah.
didn't get hurt once. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't for Ben McAdoo putting Geno Smith, he would have broke Brett Favre's record for the longest consecutive.
That's kind of crazy to me, like to
Yeah.
have done that. And then I think they brought him back afterwards too, right? So it literally just served the purpose of breaking the streak, and that that's kind
It's
of
just
like
for me, man. It's just we could talk about the 2 rings, whatever. But for me, I got to watch him my whole life, so it's like for me, it's just the classiness of him, and
Yeah.
just the dude you never heard any off the field things about him. He was always just a class act. Went out there, he's he's easy to make fun of,
Yeah.
and I sense the same thing from Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, it's like I always I don't know how anybody can think he's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I get I get the same things, like no MVPs. I mean, not too
Yeah.
many seasons where he was even considered a top 5 quarterback. So I
Yeah.
get the argument. It's just I think it's the longevity.
Yeah, for sure. And I've kind of like even just talking to you as somebody who like what a Super Bowl means to a fan base and how big it is and how momentous it is. Like obviously, like we're gonna say like Trent Dilfer won one with the Ravens. He's not a Hall of Fame
Right.
quarterback,
Right.
but 2 is different than 1 because 2 proves that it's not a fluke. And he did have that big moment, like the throw to David Tyree. Like that's got to be there's got to be pictures of that up in Canton. Like there were a lot of big moments from his Super Bowls that he won, and you're right, like playing for one franchise. Obviously, when he first came in the league, I remember there was an issue, like he didn't
Yes.
want to go to San Diego, right? Like it was a trade
Yes,
for Phillip
that's it.
Rivers.
Yep.
So there was that, but once he did settle into New York, like he obviously left it all on the line for that
Right.
for that organization. I think it doesn't help too for him that Peyton Manning was his older brother, one of the best to ever
the
do
big
it.
shoes.
Yeah. So if we're
sure.
ranking, like, can you imagine like the backyard football games they would have at Thanksgiving, like with Archie Manning, Peyton, and Eli? Eli probably got left out. He
Yes.
probably didn't get to play quarterback
Right.
because with those 2 guys.
I don't know if you've seen, but on Monday Night Football, him and Peyton have been doing like on ESPN.
Oh, that's dope.
They've actually been doing a little like segment where they just like talk during the game. Eli actually
Yeah.
flipped the double birds on national TV.
I did see
Yes.
that meme from that, which is pretty freaking dope. I think
It was wild.
yeah, it's funny. Like these guys were all business, and as far as their like Peyton had personality on the field. Like he was scary on the field. He was intense on the field. Like and he was such a game-changing player, like the way that he called the offense and the way that he was a second head coach or offensive coordinator on the field.
Right.
That was super cool to watch. Like I always used
Yep.
to love watching the Colts versus the Baltimore Ravens and seeing Ray Lewis go toe-to-toe with him and have them all calling their adjustments and whatnot.
Yeah, man.
But
They called him the sheriff.
Yeah.
They called him the sheriff for a reason.
For sure. And but like both him and Eli, they were all business on the field, but it's funny to see, like with SNL and with all the stuff they do outside of football, like they actually have a really good sense of humor. They're pretty goofy dudes, and they seem to be enjoying retirement. Like they both seem to be really in a
For
good
sure.
spot. Yeah, which is
For sure. And
sorry. Go
like
ahead.
you're good. Even being at the game last Sunday, they retired Eli's jersey and to the Ring of Honor. And
Yeah.
just being there for that and hearing him talk, and even like he came on like this little stage day in the middle of the field and talked, and it was a really really like special moment to be a part of that. Even though the Giants
Yeah.
didn't lose the game, but it was
Yeah.
so cool to be there for it because like I said, for me, like that's the only quarterback I ever
Yeah.
watched. You know what I mean? So
Oh, absolutely. No, 100%, man. And getting those 2 Super Bowls, like I can't even relate to that. My Vikings have not made a Super Bowl in my lifetime. They haven't won a
got
Super Bowl
close.
ever.
Got close.
Yeah,
got
I
close.
was. I'll tell you what. My first. Actually, was it my first NFL game that I ever went to? Yeah, it was. Oh my god. My first NFL game I went to. I drove out to Minneapolis with some friends, and we watched the game. It was the year that it was. I think it was the first year U.S. Bank Stadium was open, and it was the year they were hosting the Super Bowl. And the Vikings had a really good team that year. I think they ended up winning 13 games. And I was just thinking, how special would it be for them to be able to win a Super Bowl at home? Like, how many teams have been able to do that? Probably
Right.
not many, like, or maybe no team has done that before.
Brady did. Brady was the first one to ever do it last year.
Oh, wow. In Tampa, that's right. It's got to be
Yeah.
like a warm weather team, right? Like, warm weather teams
Yeah,
get all the...
yeah,
Or the
yeah.
Dolphins, if the Dolphins ever get good, they seem to host it every few years. But,
Yeah, for
yeah, like, so obviously they came up short on that one. But hopefully sometime in my lifetime, before I'm too old, I get to see the Vikings. It's weird because we're kind of at the down cycle of a team that was built, we kept our defensive core together. A lot of these guys are drafted around the same time, and now they're getting to the point where they're all 27, 28, 29, and they're on a downwards progression now. You know, it was fun when they were like a young defensive core. You're like, oh, these guys are gonna be great if we can get the offense figured out. And now it's like, I
For
wonder.
sure. And I think you have more likeliness of maybe seeing something like that because we're kind of heading towards a new era when the Aaron Rodgers of the world, guys
Yeah.
like that are actually out of the league.
Yeah.
We're gonna see a whole new era of football. So maybe you do get lucky and come
Yeah,
across stuff.
we gotta. You know, I think we don't have a Super Bowl in us with this current quarterback. I don't. Kirk has showed me a lot this year. He's grown on me a little bit. He's performing well and tuning out. All the people like me who are hating on him all the time, no matter how good his passer rating is.
He does
But,
get the hate. He does get a lot of hate.
Yeah, so who knows? Hopefully your Giants, you guys have a Super Bowl in Danny Dimes' arm, and hopefully my Vikings can find a young stud that can lead us.
What I would give for that, man. Even though I've already seen two, I don't know. I might give it up for.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that. And so we talked a lot of football. I was thinking, so you're a big fan of, well, at least a huge fan of basketball and baseball too. So, yeah. So with basketball with the Knicks, so they made the playoffs this year for the first time in ages. It feels like, right?
Yeah, since 2012, and even before that, that was only the first time. And I've only seen the Knicks in playoffs twice in my entire life. So,
which
you know what I mean? Just to give you perspective.
It's crazy. And you were saying like when I think this was actually before we even hopped on stream. You were saying that one of the reasons you'd go into NYC is to catch a game at the Garden, which is I've seen the Garden from the outside. I've never been to a game on the inside, but that's like the mecca of basketball. That's literally like the most holy building in all of basketball. So, like. It's nice to see, like for me personally, even though we've been in the same division for a long time with the Knicks and Raptors, and the Knicks hadn't really factored in. It's a game that for 20 years, we haven't circled a Knicks game on the calendar because it's like the Knicks haven't been competitive. But I think it's ridiculous that one of the most storied franchises in the NBA has not been competitive for so long. So it's really, I think it's good for the Knicks to be in the playoffs. I think the Knicks need to be a playoff team all the time.
100%, man. And it comes unfortunately down to the owner, and it kind of shies players from wanting to come to New York because it's not the fans. I've seen the Knicks literally win 15, 20 games at the Garden's still packed towards the end of the year just because people want to go to the Garden. So it's just a matter of just bringing players in, but it's just. The ownership and just a couple other things shy players from coming here. That's why Kevin Durant and Harden went to Brooklyn because they don't want to go play.
Which is crazy to me too. Like I was thinking, the Knicks have constantly put themselves in this position where they free up a whole bunch of cap space to make a big run, and it's like, why are people having to why is New York City's team the biggest market in all of professional sports? Why are they having to beg and fail to get these big players? It's crazy to me, and I think. By making the playoffs, it's going to give them a lot more credibility. I know I've heard some crazy stories about the Knicks owner. I know kicking Spike Lee out of a game, like a guy who's had season tickets forever. Firing an employee who didn't recognize him at the VIP lounge in the Garden.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Is he as bad as I think he is, as I've heard?
I don't think there's a Knicks fan out there, man, that actually thinks the Knicks ownership is where it should be at, man. It is bad. It is really bad. And I think that's part of the reason why we haven't been able to bring in, the players and the stars that you would think we've been able to, but what's good about right now is the Knicks have such a young core. They got fourth in the East last year, and they're building on it. They didn't even do anything crazy in free agency, but they have the same team, and I think they're just gonna get better. And I think that's what makes the league better. Because even with I was saying with the NFL, it's like when the LeBrons of the world are out of the league, we're shifting towards a whole new era of basketball. And if the Knicks can build that young core and be a part of that era, I think maybe one day I'll see the Knicks championship. Maybe. Yeah. That would be wild. That would be wild.
That would be wild, and I think it would be good for the sport of basketball. It's great that the Lakers have had continued success out there, because that's another one of the it's really, I think the Knicks and the Lakers and obviously the Bulls are probably some of the storied franchises. Bulls have been down bad recently too, so it's it's kind of like in hockey with the original six. You want to always see your trademark franchises doing well. But I do think it's definitely a positive. And so I guess your guys' best player last year would have been Randall, right? He would have been the leader of the team.
Yeah, for sure. I wish he carried that into the playoffs. The playoff series against Atlanta was really, really rough, man. But now I think he's established himself as the guy, and then we have people around him that are gonna accommodate to his leadership.
Yeah, and do you think in the NBA, the way that it's built now, he obviously does have good shooting range. I don't know, can he hit 3-pointers fairly consistently, wide open 3-pointers, or is he?
Yeah, he had the best season from 3-point range that he's had in the previous like
Yeah.
in LA in the first year with the Knicks. He like almost doubled his 3-point percentage. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
he's got
awesome.
it's getting better, and it's from a big man like that you know can get into the paint and do stuff like that. For him to have a 3-point game is
Yeah.
you know it's dynamic, and that's what you need. You need a guys to be able to do multiple things other than just maybe drive to the paint or
Yeah.
whatever. You know.
For sure, and we've seen guys like there's my next question would be like for the Knicks, and obviously the goal is to sign at some point to get another big name to come over and join you guys to make you guys front runners.
For sure.
Do you think that you can be a championship team in the NBA when your best player is a big man, like the way that the game is currently built? Like, do you think
Right.
it's possible?
I mean, it depends because like look at the Warriors a couple years ago, man. Like Steph and Clay, like Steph's obviously the guy. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's just there's so many things with you know the NBA. NBA always gets put in a spot where it's like you know one player can win you a championship, you know, and
yeah,
that's not always necessarily true because I mean the Bucks just won it and it wasn't necessarily all Giannis, you know.
yeah,
So I mean,
yeah,
as far as a big man goes, I don't know if it means you can win a championship, but I think it really it takes a little bit of everything. But as far as like if it comes down to what position I think would be the most likely, it's definitely
yeah.
like if you can have a guy like Steph Curry. I think
Oh
Steph
yeah,
Curry maybe on the Knicks would maybe put him in a spot to maybe win a
yeah.
championship.
For sure, and I remember that. Now I'm trying to think here. Was Steph Curry drafted by the Knicks and traded to Golden State? Or I remember the Knicks, I think, drafted like 7th that year or something. I can't
Right.
remember. I remember thinking that Steph Curry would have been a great pick for the Knicks, but I can't remember if they passed on him or if he just got snatched up ahead of them that
They
year.
snatched him one pick
Yeah,
before the Knicks. Yes,
I
and
thought he
Chelsea.
was going to New York. I thought he was going to be there.
Yeah,
Imagine.
trust me, us Knicks fans still think about that stuff. It's a meme in the Knicks community with
Yeah,
you know it shows the draft board and it shows Steph
yeah.
getting picked for the Knicks pick. So yeah,
It's tough, man. And it was easy to say. Like I remember seeing him. I think it was Davison or Davidson. Like it was a smaller school that he played for. I
yeah,
remember watching. And again, I don't watch a whole ton of college basketball, but I do like to watch March Madness, like with friends. It's just like one of the most exciting
for sure,
weeks or month of sports.
for
But I
sure.
remember watching this like skinny little kid go off and thinking, okay, well, is this like a Jimmer Fredette situation? Is this like a
Right,
situation of a guy who just is great in college, but his body is never going to allow him to play in the NBA? But
right.
but Steph Curry, obviously becoming one of the greatest point guards of all time, would have been a great fit in New York. But hopefully, you guys have that future star in the pipeline somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Got to get
they
lucky.
just signed Kemba Walker in the offseason, so he'll be the starting point guard this year. So I'm actually really
Yeah,
excited about that. I mean, I was like maybe like 5 years ago, I'd be really really excited for him when he was in this like
yeah. Kemba's a
yeah,
good like. Yeah, he's a good like I wouldn't say a volume shooter. Like he's definitely he can put
no,
points on the board. He's like
right,
he can his points per minute is probably very high. Like if you need a bucket, like he's a great guy to have on your team. He's hit
for
a lot
sure,
of big shots against the Raptors in the past, whether it was on the Celtics or even like on Charlotte, like
right.
back in the day. Like he's definitely a good player who was he on the Celtics last year or was he
I want to say yes. Yeah,
yeah.
don't quote me on that, but I
Yeah,
want to say
yeah.
yes
Well, that he was in a weird situation where I guess they have a couple of young studs that are looking to get more shots. So,
for sure.
but for a team like the Knicks, where it's a big man who they run the offense through, like I think it's good to have a secondary scorer there. So he'll definitely be a good addition.
Even just to facilitate, man. Even if you could just have a point guard that can facilitate the young
Yeah,
guys, sometimes that's enough. You know what I mean?
for sure. And it's funny too, like from I've been watching basketball for a long time. Basketball is kind of what got me off of watching hockey. Vince Carter back in 2000, being winning the dunk contest and the NHL I think was on a lockout that year. So I really got big into basketball and the game's changed a lot. Like there used to be a lot of those point guards like who would put up 10, 12 assists a game and they'd score like
Yeah.
eight points and they were just like now it's like everybody has to be able to create their own shot in the NBA
Yeah.
and everyone has to be able to play defense and you got to be able to defend multiple positions. It's and now it's like the small forward shooting guards a lot of the time are carrying the ball up the court.
Right.
It's just I think the NBA is super exciting. Like I love the direction it's going in where everybody has to be athletic, everyone has to shoot. You don't see the
It's like
dinosaurs.
you gotta be able to put up threes. Like honestly, the whole league is based off how well you shoot threes. If you can't
Yeah,
shoot threes, you're not gonna win. That is how
yeah,
it is.
hundred
It's so
percent. For sure, and I know my Raptors. So we had a good draft pick this year. We got lucky. We got the fourth. I think it was the third pick or fourth. No, we got the fourth pick in the draft this year, and we picked this guy Barnes. And I think everyone in the world was expecting us to pick Suggs. I don't watch a whole lot, but like he was a point guard. Kyle Lowry had just signed with the Miami Heat or was on the way out the door in a sign and trade. For me, I was like, Suggs is the no-brainer pick here, but I mean, I guess they like what they see in Fred VanVleet, so but this guy Barnes, he kind of fits that mold. Like it seems like everybody on the Raptors roster is like 6'8", 7-foot wingspan. They don't really have a position. Like that's kind of like
right.
So I'm excited to see what that is. But obviously, I think my Raptors are in a transition phase right now. We were lucky enough to win our championship a couple years ago, which was
at least you got a chip, man. That's
super special. Yeah, it was wild. Like because I grew up my entire childhood. The Raptors were trash. They were so bad. like Vince Carter gave us a few good years, and then he left on the worst possible terms. Where we were. It was very bad. Now it's It's amazing how much of a grudge people in Toronto could hold against Vince Carter. Now he's beloved again. He's got to be, in my opinion, he's got to be the first number that we retire. We still haven't retired a number. Like the Knicks, I'm sure, have a whole bunch of retired numbers there, like Patrick Ewing, and but it was nice to see the relationship kind of rebuilt. Time kind of heals all wounds, I guess, in that case.
For sure. I mean, bro, like every time Vince Carter became a free agent, me and my brother used to always be like, just sign with the Knicks, even if he's in his 40s, just sign with the Knicks so I can buy a Vince Carter jersey.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
What I mean? Just to have it, like that would be the coolest thing.
Oh, that would be dope. It's well, and he Vince Carter. Oh wait, what was I gonna say? Vince Carter was with the Nets for a long time, so you probably saw a fair amount, like being in New York. Like he played for the New Jersey Nets. He was awesome actually. After he left Toronto, that was what I think hurt us the most is watching him kind of be like, oh, I'm not gonna dunk anymore. Like honestly, in all fairness, our head coach, our general manager at that time were terrible. He was in a very bad position. He had no support. We made awful trade. He had no supporting cast around him at all. But when he went to New Jersey and he was kind of revitalized for like 3 or 4 years there, where they made deep playoff runs with like him, Jason Kidd, and Richard Jefferson. That's what made us Toronto fans. We're like, oh god, why can't that be us? Why not us?
Right, for sure. But, and that's how Knicks fans feel with the whole thing that's going on in Brooklyn right now. It's like, wow, it's like that literally could be what we have going on, even though Brooklyn ended up not, getting past the second round due to injuries.
Yeah.
I think it was the second round, but it's like why can't that be us? I mean,
I know.
It's New York, but
exactly, it's New York City. Like, what is the deal? Like, I still don't get it. I can't wrap my head around it. Which is why I think that your owner must be a supervillain. It's got to be the only way. Yeah, it's the only reason,
man. That's like I said. I've seen the Knicks win 15 games in the Garden. It's loud as if it was an NBA Finals game. That's just how. Yeah. That's how New York sports fans in general are, really.
Yeah, and it's cool too. Like in the Garden, like I know, like everybody. That's one thing that I know that New York is going to be good as a franchise because like everybody gets excited to play at the Garden, even though the team had decades of not being great. There's still that magic of going into the Garden, and like I know they dim the lights on the fans too, right? Like it really is like a show.
It's the atmosphere at the Garden during the next game is unbelievable. That's like that. I only think to myself like, man, imagine if this team actually becomes competitive, like. And not to mention too, getting fans back at the Garden slowly at the beginning of last year because there's no fans in the Garden for a while. And it was like 2,500 fans. It's like, man, when you pack that place, it's a tough place to go and try to win a game, especially maybe like the playoffs.
Absolutely, for sure. And so the other question I was going to ask. So we've covered the two big sports, and we want to talk a little bit about baseball because my Blue Jays. It sounds like if the Red Sox were able to close out that game, it looks like my Jays are out of the playoffs.
From what I've seen, I believe it went that way.
Yeah, so we're seeing the heartbreak live on the podcast. We're finding out the news right now. Yeah, it looks like the Jays are out of the playoffs. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy. Like we got a super young core. Like obviously, like Vladdy, Bo Bichette, even Kevin Biggio, who is injured. I think he could be a part of that core too.
For sure.
Even guys like Teoscar, he's 27. Like we got our offense is stacked. We'll probably lose guys like Marcus Semien. I think he might sign elsewhere. Yeah. He'll probably go to the Yankees, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Robbie Ray, who might win a Cy Young this year, which is crazy because he was just a one-year like prove it kind of deal. Yeah. He might win a Cy Young this year. He'll probably sign with the Yankees. It's
that's usually how it goes, man.
Yeah,
that's usually how it goes.
That's kind of like, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Like I think everybody in the league feels like, okay, it's going to be the Dodgers or Yankees are going to sign all the good players. Yeah, it used to be the Red Sox too. Red Sox are kind of like transitioning from being that big spending team, but what about the Mets this year? How did their season go? Because I can't remember if we mentioned this on stream or off stream. How did you become a Mets fan as opposed to being a Yankees fan?
Right, and like I said a little bit ago, just like the rest of the sports teams, it's all my dad. Like I said, it was me and my dad were the only Mets fans, so it's I went that path, and everybody else is just Yankee fans. So I I give thanks to him for that. I mean, I say thanks, but I
Yeah.
don't like that. We could have been Yankees fans, but
Yeah.
no, it's just roots for him.
Yeah. And you know, I have a bittersweet relationship with the Mets myself because we put together a trade package for R.A. Dickey, which is like was our first like legit try to be competitive, and it's like, oh, let's get this 40-year-old knuckleballer, and that's going to change our. You know, he did have an incredible Cy Young season for you guys. Like he was
20 games.
Yeah, and then Toronto he came and he was like a 4 ERA pitcher. He would win 10 games and give you some innings, and like when people hit him, they hit him hard. So. R.A. Dickey, you know, he wasn't terrible, but he was, you know, the fact that we gave up Noah Syndergaard as part of that package, and Noah Syndergaard became a legit ace. I have to think, I haven't heard much about him this year. I don't, the Mets don't get a whole lot of media attention. The Yankees kind of seem to snatch it all up, like on ESPN's front page.
He just came back from Tommy John. He's actually just coming back and like he just got his. I think he actually started today. It's only his second start of the year. They just want him to get. Yeah, that's the thing. If I have to give you the Mets season, it's just injuries, man. It's been riddled with it, man.
How did Lindor do coming over in the trade? Like, how was his debut as a Met?
Right. I mean, the first few months, New York, like I was saying earlier, New York media, New York the fans, they just if you're not performing, man, especially when you give them $340 million, whatever they gave him, like, you expect instant performance, man.
Yeah.
But he got injured in the middle of August, and we lost a lot of games in August. We were playing some really good teams, and again, like I'm just gonna beat a dead horse with it. It's just they were injured. Jacob deGrom could have had one of the best starting pitching seasons of all time.
Insane. Like I was playing a lot of MLB The Show when the MLB season started, and just seeing the type of stats that he was putting up, not just pitching but offensively too. Like this guy's like a silver slugger as well. Right. Like he's insane. You know, I remember deGrom. The long-haired DeGrom. Like, I remember him being, like, kind of like a third starter, and he was really good, and then he went from being, like, a really, really good young starter, you're like, oh, this guy could be a great, you know, middle-of-the-rotation guy, to just becoming so elite, like, on a level that we've never really seen before. So, you guys got to feel pretty good about having your ace locked down. Is he under contract for a long time? Like, is he...
They're still in the works of that, but like I said, man, it's just the injuries. I mean, the guy's throwing a 94, 95-mile-an-hour slider. It's like, the guy almost throws too hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's wild.
You know? So I hope they fully lock him down. I'm not sure the exact details of it, but like I said, it all comes down to the health, man. Because we know what these guys can do. So.
Yeah, and I know with Tommy John surgery, like obviously it's something you have to be super careful about for Syndergaard, but like he's already a fireballer. I know a lot of guys come back throwing even harder from Tommy John because apparently it like something about the tendon, like it's kind of like a miracle procedure. So hopefully he has a big return. I mean, it's always bittersweet seeing him put up, you know, 2.7 ERA seasons where he strikes out like, you know, the top. He's like always top 5, top 10 in strikeouts in the league, and he's got a freaking amazing head of hair too. It's I just think like, oh god, I would have loved to have seen him in Toronto. Like I was following his career in the minors when he was like, you know, 18, 19 years old. Like he was one of those guys, kind of like when we got Vladdy Guerrero at age 16 when we signed him. It's like one of those guys you're like, oh, this guy's going to be special. But at least he got to be special for you guys, and you know, he didn't turn into one of those guys who was just one of the many busts in the MLB.
For sure, man.
What about Marcus Stroman? So there's one guy I know who was a Blue Jay, a much beloved Blue Jay during our playoff runs with Bautista and them, and he's got to be getting up there in years now too.
Yes.
Did he have a decent season? I think I saw him with like a sub 3 ERA.
Right, it was fairly good. When he was, it was one of the things that like if he was on, man, it's like. The dude is on, and he's great. He's actually one thing that doesn't get talked about. He's a great fielder. He's
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, he has so many great plays in the field as a defender.
Yeah.
I just love his passion. I truly. He's one of the very few baseball players I really like try to keep up with on a personal level, just like what's going on in his life. Because the dude has a crazy story. He's a great dude, and I absolutely love to see him in the Mets jersey, even if he isn't playing, you know, amazing all the time.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird because, like, when we ended up... I can't remember if we let him go as a free agent or if we traded him to you guys as a package. I don't remember now.
It might have been a trade. I'm not 100%.
Yeah, if it was a trade, we got nothing for it, I'm sure. But, yeah, Stroman was, like, a guy who... he does have so much fight, and he's a really interesting personality. Like, you know, the height doesn't measure heart. You know, he's like... Guys like 4'3" on the field there. Like, but he plays... He plays aggressively. He does like this crazy like leg kick. Like he does this stability stuff where he holds his leg up. He's got so much swagger. You know, he's kind of like for me, like now, the bat flips and the celebrations and making the MLB fun again is like,
sure. Yeah.
it's like, it's becoming more normal now. Like people accept it, but like he was one of the guys who was doing that back when it wasn't cool, and people would call him a thug, or like
Right.
they would
No, absolutely.
like a guy with a bad attitude, not a good locker room guy. But like I always thought, I was like, this is what the MLB needs to be: a bunch of guys like this who go out there, they play their ass off, they leave it all out on the field, and they have a personality too. They're not just like a
Right.
boring cardboard cutout.
Gotta have a little swag to him,
100%.
That's what he shows. He got a little swag to him, and I think that's
Exactly.
important. And
Yeah.
It goes in the clubhouse, man. Guys like that, the
Yeah.
other guys in the clubhouse, they hear it, they
Yeah.
see it, they talk about it, and that's, sometimes that's what hypes other guys up to play better.
Exactly. He's the kind of guy that you probably love to have on your own team, but you hate to play against because it looks like he's showing up the opponents. But but he was definitely popular in Toronto. We loved him here. It was sad to see him go, but we were kind of like in a transition period after Bautista declined and retired, and after Edwin, Edwin didn't really decline, but we just chose not to take that. He declined soon afterwards.
Right.
So it was just a weird thing. Like, do you lock him up because he wanted a lot of money, and we just kind of had to let him go. But I remember on that, I think it might have been the first Blue Jays playoff run. Like I say first because we went like over 15 years without making the playoffs. So it was, again, similar to my Raptors upbringing. The Jays were bad. My whole, I used to go and watch a ton of Jays games. Used to be able to get season tickets for like $162, so you could get $2 games. You could get 81 games, $2 a piece. Like they were really bad. We did,
and like, why not?
Yeah, we did the Toonie Tuesdays. Toonie is like our $2 coin we have in Canada. So like they couldn't sell tickets for a long time. After the 92-93 World Series, it was like steep cliff, bad franchise. It was. I kind of went off on a tangent there. I was thinking of my childhood. I'm going back to my childhood now, thinking of like all that. But it was weird too. Like, so for you guys at with the Mets, were you guys able to have like full capacity at the stadium this year? Was it like, or what was it like in New York?
Yeah, actually, we got to a point where I want to say it didn't even, you have to show proof of, even a test or anything like that. But yeah, it slowly got there. I don't think they had full capacity right at the start of April. But they got there, and it was definitely it's a game changer, man. Like even last season, there's only 60 games in a season and no fans in the stands. Like it's crazy how much that really has a factor. And even in every sport, it's not just baseball.
Oh, for sure. I look at like last year's got to be a huge asterisk type season because it really. Like I was getting super into Twitch at that point and streaming, so like I really missed a lot of. I feel like I missed that whole season because I was like streaming at the same time as the games. Didn't really get to follow. Like the Jays made the playoffs, like but it didn't really feel like it, like because they played like one playoff game and they were out as a wild card. This year was a full 162 games. So this did feel like a full MLB season. It had all the storylines, ups and downs. But like in Toronto, we had. Today's game, for example, which was like basically a playoff game because it was a must win. We only had 30,000 like out of a potential. You could fit like, I think they can fit like 49,000 when they fill the upper bowl, but like we still haven't gotten back to full capacity. I think they would have. It was tough.
You guys also weren't playing in your own stadium for like months too.
Yeah, it was brutal. Like, we were playing in upstate New York, like in your neck of the woods. Well, we were playing in Buffalo at the Bison Stadium for a while, and before that, we were playing in like Dunedin, our Dunedin, Florida, where our spring training facility is. So that was like definitely the funny thing is we played the Rays down there, and it's like it was literally a home game for the Rays at our Dunedin facility. When we play in Buffalo, it's right in Yankees territory. So it's like we were literally playing probably, when you look at it, we didn't play 81 home games. We probably played like 40 home games, in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly.
Luckily, they played pretty well though, like on the in those facilities. So it kind of worked out. It was a good year, like a lot of fun. I definitely have high hopes for the future, like with this young core. Hopefully, we can make a run at some point. Like Vladdy's 22 years old. He just hit, I think, 48 or 49 home runs this year. So I mean,
you guys had a great second half of the season. Something to build on. That's really that sits 100%. With players. And when next April comes back around, you guys might be a team that they're talking about. Maybe even winning the AL East, which is a very packed division right now.
I just want the AL East to be gone. Like that's one thing as a Mets fan, you're lucky that you don't have to be in the AL East. I hate it. It's the worst division. It sucks. It's I guess like the NL West is a division that's kind of like that too now.
I mean, dude, the Dodgers won 106 games and they have to play a 1 game.
It's insane.
Like I
Yeah.
think that's absurd, man.
Yeah.
Wild card should be a 3 game set. I don't know why they only do
I agree too. Like especially like adding the additional wildcard slots in. I think it's time to kind of make it a 3 game series would be perfect because it's not a huge time commitment. You can literally get it done in a weekend.
like
And
play
give teams a little bit of
162
rest.
games.
Yeah.
You play 162 games in 3 game
Yeah.
formats, but a playoff you're only getting 1 game.
Especially in a sport where the most important player is the pitcher. Like
Right.
imagine running into Jacob DeGrom in a wild card 1 game
Right.
win or go home situation. It's
Right.
almost a foregone conclusion.
And off days happen. Good teams lose to bad teams all the time in baseball. It's like a team like the Dodgers going 160 games, and they're gonna be out next week because of 1 game wild card.
Exactly. It's
That is
tough.
crazy.
It is tough. But I feel like we had a really we've been going for a long time already, and we haven't even talked about you at all yet. We've been talking about sports. Like we literally we could make
Hey,
this a
man.
weekly podcast.
Yes, we could. Yes, I was
Yeah.
gonna say we both come from different spots as far as what teams we like, but there's always all kinds of changes
Yeah.
we can have, for sure.
And I'll be dropping your link in the chat with like your Twitch channel and some of the other links and
I
whatnot.
appreciate
But
it, man. I
yeah, of
appreciate
course, man. But let's talk a little bit about your background. First of all, with Madden, because you're primarily a Madden streamer. I think you
Yeah.
did stream some MLB as well during the MLB season too.
Yeah,
I've seen you stream Fall Guys before when Madden's not going well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, man. I mean, I've been playing Madden like monthly on end ever since
Yeah.
throughout the whole year ever since I was like 6 years old, man. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like when it came down to like I used to play family members like uncles, my brother, my dad, family friends or whatever. We used to all just get around and we do like little family tournaments and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
That's
so I
cool,
mean,
man.
I would play it like just all year long, man. I
Yeah.
would have like stuff like Call of Duty. I was always in Call of Duty when I was younger,
Yeah.
but no, Madden just always sat with me. Even if it was just franchise, I would just make a Giants franchise and win
Yep.
15 Super Bowls because before Ultimate Team, like that's just what you did.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. And I think, speaking of like running the franchise, I would always do the same thing. Do a Vikings franchise and then move them to Toronto in the second
Right,
season and customize the jerseys to look like my high school team's jerseys and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
I wish that CFM allowed for maybe CFM does allow. I don't know. Like I'll see it at the end of the season. Like I think I turned off the relocation settings in our CFM
Yeah.
that we're in, just because you get trolls sometimes, and I don't want them to mess up the teams. But yeah, it's so you've been playing it. You probably have been playing Madden for as long as I have, even though I'm a decade older than you, because my first Madden would have been Madden 2005. Do you remember what your first game was? Like
I
who
think
was
it
on
was
the cover?
either I want to say it was the year McNabb was on the cover. I don't know if that was 05 or 06.
That might have been 06. That was 06,
It might
I
have been
think. Yeah.
06. That's the first one I remember
Nice.
because towards right around when Madden came out, late August, early September, my family we'd always go like school clothes shopping. We'd go to like Target. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, Mom, come on, like school's about to start. Like we need the new Madden, so that's
Yeah.
around the time I would get the Madden.
That's awesome. And imagine buying
I
a
know.
game in disc form too. That's like a throwback right
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah.
That's crazy now, right? To even to see this. I haven't bought a disc game in years, so
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like it's all virtual now. Like I
absolutely.
honestly I would buy, like, you're on next gen this year, right? Like you have
Yeah.
what console are you on? You're on PS5, I guess, right?
PS5. Yeah.
Yeah,
PS5,
nice.
Yeah.
PS5s don't exist in Canada. They're like impossible to. You can get an Xbox now, but like PS5s are like
They're so
the
hard,
hottest
man.
commodity. And I know in
I
the
got
States
so
too.
lucky.
Yeah, and it's tough. Like, do you find like being part of the comp community? Like, I know a lot of the guys that I know that are in the comp community had to jump ship and go to Xbox. Guys who've been
Right.
PlayStation for maybe
Yeah.
10 years had to switch over. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
Sony really missed an opportunity there, by
For
not
sure, for sure.
having enough stock ready to go.
And I really feel it a lot with Madden this year, bro. Because for me, and I say it all the time, I stream, like I always find myself playing like the same 11 dudes on
Yeah.
one weekend league. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, playing this guy again. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it's just the same
It's-
thing. Even head to head, playing the same guys over and over and over.
Yeah,
again.
and that's frustrating because especially if you are playing guys that are like sweats too. It's
Oh, sure.
they're adapting, they're learning your style. You don't catch them off guard with like your one play beaters or whatever. It's like
Right.
if you're playing a guy 3 times in a weekend, it's going to be like
Yeah.
an actual. So it's probably great from a competitive perspective, but it also means that every single game you're playing is sweaty as hell and miserable at the same
For
time.
sure, like especially in weekend league, man. Like I don't care if I'm playing the same guy 3 times in a row and I'm beating the hell out of him. I don't
Yeah.
want to play. I want to
Yeah.
play 25 different opponents every time.
Oh, 100%.
It gets old, man. It gets
Yeah.
old really quick.
No, I totally agree. Like obviously the one exception would be is if you get beat by a guy and you know that you're better than him and you get that matchup the second time.
Yes, yes.
And you can whoop him and you're streaming it too. Yeah, like
Yes.
that's the one exception to it. But totally, like the lack of variety is definitely
Sure.
tough. I find the same thing I'm playing current gen still. I don't even have a next gen console
Right,
yet.
right.
And I kind of at first I was like, okay, I was kind of targeting Christmas time. I was like, okay, well, my wife's pretty good at getting her hands on this kind of stuff. She, that could be the big gift for Christmas is get a PS5.
Yes,
And
for
now
sure.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to play next gen Madden at this point. I kind of want to enjoy this year on PS4 where I can play with like fast users and
Right.
because come next year I'm obviously probably gonna have a next gen console by next year, and it's gonna be from what people have been saying, like they're struggling with the new locomotion, the way the game plays. Like,
Right.
how do you find next gen Madden compared to like previous years?
For sure, and it's even when I'm watching you, just to see that like difference. Everyone's like, "Is it really that different?" Yes, it's really, really that different. Like
Yeah.
just everything about it. Even like going through when I play in your CFM, like going like the menu is different.
Yeah.
How you pick, the play art stuff. And it's just
That'll
even
take
just
me
stuff
3
like that.
months to learn the menu.
So,
It'll take me so long.
it-
Yeah.
It's just so different, man. I personally think next gen is better. Personally,
Yeah?
I offense feels so smooth. Like how you can pass and how long it takes for the ball to get there is so much different. At least
Yeah.
from what my experience on current gen. Current gen is tough to pass.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels.
Luch is saying,
is rough, but
yeah. Luch is saying current gen is ass. We just played in CFM, and he's like been playing like you on next gen the whole time. He's not liking the going back to current gen once you played the next gen. That actually gives me that actually gives me hope. The fact that you're enjoying it more, you're kind of maybe
absolutely.
an exception. A lot of guys, you see on Twitter and whatnot, just blasting the game. So that actually makes me excited to try it out.
Yeah, I got my PS5 in March of this year, and so I was playing Madden 21 on next gen for the last roughly 5 months
Yeah.
or so, and it was the most fun I've had playing Madden.
That's awesome. Well, you're that kind of coincides with like getting your next gen console like in March. Like that kind of is probably around the time when I became introduced to your stream. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about how I got introduced to your stream too, actually. But yeah, like you've been kind of like killing it lately, like doing the late night vibes and do you have like any kind of a stream schedule, or how do you decide when to boot up? Like what's your week look like?
I was waiting for this type of question as far as like how I work with that. Unfortunately, it's like the one thing I lack with the most. It's like finding a set schedule. And like I was saying to you before we started, like about to start, a new job and stuff like that. So it's definitely gonna like kind of make it a little bit more, I'm gonna know what times I'm doing that and what times I've got free time, and just spending time with my daughter and my family and doing other stuff like that. So I definitely I think it's so important to create a schedule, and something I haven't been able to do. I mean, like I always say, I try to like, towards the end of the stream, be like, all right, I might be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I always try to push out stuff like Discord, Twitter. Like, it's always there, you know what I mean? But like, Weekend League comes around, I'm gonna be live either Thursday or Friday.
Exactly. Yeah, we know where to find you on Weekend League. You'll be facing like the sweaty same 3 players. You'll face the same 3 players 10 times each in Weekend League, and then that'll be it. But it's one thing. I got to catch a lot of your streams during the summer months because like I'm a teacher, so normally I'll do summer school in July. So normally July I'm still working. In August I'll get like 4 or 5 weeks to just kind of do nothing, and now the do nothing has become focused on the stream. But I had a full 2 months off, so I was able to be up late. My hours almost immediately after my last day of work, I think I stayed up super late watching some of the late night Demon stream, and I never got my hours back until the end of August. I was just up like going to bed at 5 a.m. so I was able to catch a lot of your streams then. Now I feel like I'm missing them because I'm in bed I'm in bed earlier than Up and Adam Gaming. I'm in bed by like 10 p.m.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. No, like I was saying to you before we started, it's like, man, sometimes like I'll start at like 9, 10 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, I might be done by 2 a.m. and I might be done when it's like and that's another thing that messes with the schedule too. Sometimes like it's exhausting. Like people don't think, everyone thinks it's just you get on camera and you're playing football. Like it's so much more than that. And I mean, part of that is because I like to put down maybe a little too much up.
And that's what I was going to lead into next. It's true, but before I lead into how I met King Kov the first time, it's true. Like it's not just I mean, for some guys, it maybe is just boot up a stream,
Right.
no face cam,
Right.
go live, and it's just like you're playing by yourself.
Right.
You know, you don't read
Yeah,
chat.
right,
But like
right.
for guys like you who interact with your chat, it's like getting mentally
Absolutely.
ready. That's why for me,
Yeah,
for example,
it is. It
yeah,
really is, man. Like, and there's gonna be obviously people out there that are like, oh, he's an alcoholic, man. Sure. I just
yeah,
like for me, it's like we're just entertainers, man. Like for me,
yeah,
it's just having fun. I'm having fun. I've literally spent since last June streaming and doing stuff like stupid shit like shotgun and beers or fun.
yeah.
There's gonna be people who are like that, take it some type of way, but I'm literally having the most fun I've ever had in my entire life doing anything.
Exactly, and during
I really am.
yeah, for sure, and during like a pandemic too, where a lot of those
Yeah,
like it's been such a good outlet for people to meet like actual friends. Like, and it's true. Like,
yeah,
I never had any inkling about the Twitch community, and like I started probably watching Twitch just to get free drops. I'd go into like
right,
the Madden
right,
live
right,
streams,
right.
just type like smash my keyboard, whatever letters came out, that was it, and I'd get my drops. But like then you start like seeing people you're in the same chats. You're like, oh well, I like going to
Yeah,
this Madden live streamer. I'm gonna watch his stream.
right.
You start meeting guys. People send you messages or whatever, and you make those connections. But like legitimately, I'm in contact with people that I met on Twitch. More
Yeah,
than a lot of
man,
my in
same.
real life friends. So it's pretty awesome.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Like for me, it's like now it's like you just said. It's like you almost interact with these people that you've met just streaming on the internet that
Yeah,
you do with people that you maybe even know your whole life. You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
And
Yeah,
it's like it is crazy because like there are definitely a handful of people that I like literally talk to on a personal level, whether it's
yeah,
about whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy because like like you said, it's like you maybe didn't take Twitch that serious of like what is out there. But
yeah.
it's like even just doing something like this, man. It's like I would have never expected anything like this
Oh, for sure.
15 months ago.
I would net like video gaming for me was always like that's my solitude. That's like my place where I go to like just turn my brain
Absolutely.
off and just like lock in and have fun, just like as a hobby for myself. Like it's something where for me it's like I need to have time. Like I like to play Madden off stream too. Like I'm not a lot of the guys
Right.
it's like it's a full time job for them or it's something they really
Yeah, absolutely.
focus on. Like they want to play just Madden when they stream. And for me it's like I would sometimes I'll play like an hour and a half after my stream. I'm like, you know what? I just want to wind down now and enjoy the
Yeah.
game
Oh,
the way that I
absolutely. You need
enjoyed it
to.
for years, for sure. I mean, and so depending on how good or bad the game is on any given year,
For
it
sure.
might be a good or a bad idea. Sometimes I play and I'm like, okay, well, I just lost 2 more head-to-head games off stream now. Wish I hadn't played those 2, but
And I think me and you relate a lot when it comes to how we stream Madden. Like, we're
yeah,
always in the game. We're always locked in. I know when you play Weekend League, you're locked in, but you're interacting. There's a lot of things
yeah.
happening. At
Oh
once. And
yeah,
I know you go through a thing where you don't want to miss a comment. You never know if it's somebody that might haven't been in a while. You don't want to miss a comment.
exactly.
You know
It's
what I mean?
true.
So I know you scroll up. I know I see you do it all the time. Like I'll say something, it might be a couple minutes, and then you'll scroll up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially if chat's
yeah,
going crazy. It's hard to keep up
exactly,
sometimes. It's hard to keep
exactly.
and play at a high level. I know
For sure.
we both go
Especially
into it.
no, you're absolutely right, and that's even something like this. Like right now, like I see chat moving in the podcast, and I'm trying to do my best job of like doing the interview and like focusing fully on the guest, and that's why I created this lovely command here. I'm going to drop my command right now in the chat.
You were doing great, my guy. You were.
I
Doing great.
appreciate it. Yeah, like I hate missing messages. So like this is a situation where I'd probably go through and rewatch the VOD
Right.
and then
Yes.
check in with some guys and especially hopefully nobody's sharing anything super important with me right now in the chat.
I know, right?
'Cause I'm missing all of it. But
I know.
yeah, but I think it's time now. I've been beating around the bush here about the first time I jumped into
The floor is yours.
King
The floor
Cobb
is
stream.
yours.
Yeah, so I'm normally a guy like I wake up super early. Like I'll wake up at 5:30 in the morning before work, and I like to kind of normally I leave my PC on overnight. Like I'll open up tabs for guys that I want to support. I don't always do it. Like I know it's not the best thing for the health of my PC long term to just have this thing running 24/7, but I'll leave up tabs and I'll play solo battles. Sometimes I'll play like I'll grind solos in the morning, stuff that's not stressful while I drink my coffee. So this was probably around like 5:30, 6 a.m. And one of the tabs, I don't know who it was, I don't know who rated into your channel, but like King Cobb was there. He had his green screen set up. I think you had your little podium set up in front of you too.
Yep,
Your little
yep.
green screen podium. And this man was pulling out like a home hardware funnel setup. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like I'm already enjoying the vibes right now. First of all, it's like I'm having my morning coffee, and this man has been going hard all night. And second of all, it's not like he's pouring beers in there. He had a bottle of Hypnotic. So like the crazy like nuclear blue Hypnotic, and I was like, I don't know if you were just cleaning out your liquor cabinet. Like it was clearly you had already had like finished all your other stuff, and you're like, okay, what can I put into this funnel now? And you downed it like a boss. Chat was going crazy. Like the vibes were super high in there. And I was just like, man, this is wild, because I know that the people in your chat have been riding with you for hours at that point, and I just got to walk in, probably about like 30 minutes before you were booting off stream, and I'm sure the next morning was not fun for you, or the next afternoon.
I mean, I do fairly well with it. I mean, everyone always thinks that like, oh my god, he's drunk all the time. It's like, man, like I'm drinking water right now. Like I drink water. People, and stuff like that. But like when I'm on stream and I want to have a good time, for me, it's like if I can do that and kind of be, take it as like a party. You know what I mean? That's exactly. And play good at Madden, because I've had nights at Madden where I feel like I'm playing out of my mind, and I'm going crazy with It's just I want to just be able to mix it all together, because
exactly.
when it's all going that way, man. Like I said, I don't think I've had more fun in my entire life doing anything like this. I really, like, honestly, it's so much fun.
It is fun, and that's the thing. Like we talk about, we both enjoying playing off stream and whatnot too. But it is like, it's something I look forward to. Like when I'm doing my day job, which is like a teacher, and like I'm sitting on the streetcar at 7:30 in the morning. I'm going into work, and I'm like, oh man, I get to stream in like 9-10 hours from now. I'll be able to stream. Like I'm thinking about, okay, I'm gonna get the tweet ready to go. Like it's something that if I get a my lunch break, and I sometimes I don't get out of my classroom at all, but like when I do, it's like, okay, I gotta check in on Discord, see how the guys are doing. Like it's something that like is a way of turning a hobby of mine into like streaming and video gaming is totally different. It's like it's turned it into. It's almost like a second job. Like if you take your streaming seriously, like it really is a second full-time job. So I feel like I'm working 80 hours a week, but I really enjoy both my jobs. I enjoy teaching, and I really enjoy streaming. But it doesn't mean it's easy too at the same time. It's a time crunch.
And like I know I'm the same way. You're the same way when it comes to like, you don't expect anybody to donate or gift subs or anything like that. But it's like when it does happen, you do actually like you do sense it. You know what I mean? You do like, it's like, wow, people actually are supporting the entertainer, and that's when like I know you've done stuff like that, and you give it back, man. Whether it's, I know you said you gift, you go back and you gift to other streamers and stuff like that. It's all, and it's, or you get upgrades for the stream, whether it's a new mic or a new camera. Like,
for sure, crazy. There's so many and there's so many good relationships that I've built through Twitch that it's like I wish that I could just support every single streamer and just go around and just be like 10 bomb, like to all my boys on Twitch.
I feel the same way, man.
And some months I can do that, and then there's other months where I can't do that. So it's like I never expect or would want to put unnecessary pressure on people for that. But it is like this community, especially like the Madden Twitch community, it really is a business that's based on generosity.
Absolutely.
I tell my friends, like my college buddies who I'm like really close with, and they know what Twitch is. Like they're, a lot of them are. My best man at my wedding, he used to be huge into World of Warcraft. Like at the end of college, he was like big into World of Warcraft. I played a game of MLB The Show against him on stream, so he had to download Discord. He had no idea what Discord was. Like it's really only the real gamers know what Discord is. Yes, I had no idea what it was.
For sure.
But like I talked to them about streaming, and they're like, okay, well, like how do you? What do you mean? Like people pay to get, like why do they give you money? Like they don't understand it. They're like, okay, well, but they could also just watch your stream for free.
I know. I try to explain it to like my dad or my grandparents, and they just don't get it.
Oh yeah, my parents
they just don't get it.
Yeah, my parents don't get it at all. My in-laws, like my wife's parents, they get it a little bit more. Like they kind of understand the entertainment value and but it's true. Like there's no reason to ever gift a sub to a streamer unless you feel like you're getting something of positive value. Like it honestly, for any streamer out there who even has one sub, like that means that you've made a connection with somebody where they feel like they want to support you on that level. So that's a huge victory. And and it's up and down. Like some months the subs are up here, some months they're down there. It goes in cycles, and like people on Fridays.
You try not to get in that mind, because if you have a really good month, you're just like, oh, this has to be like the same thing every month, and it's not always the case.
It's not,
It's not. It's really not. I remember you talking about, up and Adam David, like he hit Twitch partner, and even he realized you still got to grind, man. Even if you hit those big goals or those big sub counts or whatever, you're still like in it, man. It doesn't stop even when you hit goals.
100%. It's like a check mark only gets you so far. It's like I always joke around with like guys like Mortality, Up and Atom, like guys who got their check marks. Yeah, two Flocka. Yeah, I always.
That's the big one, man. That's the big one.
Yeah, I always joke around. I'm
We
like,
love
yeah.
listening to him.
I was like, so when you get Twitch partner, you get like $1 million check and a mansion in Beverly Hills, but that's not the
Yes,
case. Like,
yes.
you're literally in the exact same spot that you were before.
Yeah.
The revenue sharing, from the most part, is the same as it was before. You just have to hopefully use that little bit of extra validity
Right.
to. And you're the one who has to push your channel. So
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I find, especially like in the winter months too, when we get a little bit of sunlight, not a lot of vitamin D, not getting outside as much.
Right.
It's very easy as a streamer to kind of look at those numbers, and like you said, you want to see it going up like this. You want to see it going up, steadily every single month. But
Right.
it really is not the case. And for a month where you might feel like, sometimes too, it's based on other people's schedules. Like, you might feel like you just had one of your best streams ever, and
Right,
the
for
viewers
sure.
were the lowest you've had in months. So, it takes a lot of mental toughness, I think, to kind
For
of
sure.
just have faith in what you're doing and be true to yourself, and just realize that, you'll get where you need to be when you get there, and just have
sure.
faith in the process. I think, that's one thing. Every time I go into one of your streams, you're always bringing the same energy, regardless of how many people
I
are in the
appreciate
chat.
that, man. No, I
Yeah,
appreciate
whether
that,
you've
man.
gotten a raid of like, a big ass raid from like some partnered streamer, or whether you're just, just booting up stream with your loyal guys in there, and that's
Absolutely,
hard
man.
to do. Yeah.
And I think another thing too, man, is like, especially with where I started, it's like we just went through a pandemic, like a year-long pandemic. So a lot of people were home, spending a lot of time on Twitch. So, you got to think people are getting back to normal lives. Kids are back in school now. It's
Yeah.
start of October, like kids are
Exactly.
getting back into the full. You're back in school as a teacher. Like
Yeah.
people are getting back into real life things. So maybe like declines in certain categories of views or whatever. It definitely
Yeah.
it's normal, man. It's normal. And there's a lot. The thing is too is like there's a lot of really good streamers on so
There's
many
tons.
different games. There's so many, man.
Yeah.
Like so many good streamers. And that's why I have so much appreciation for you inviting me on, this podcast.
Oh man, no, I was thrilled
so
to.
many. There's so many good just Madden streamers that I can just think off the top of my head that like if I could spend hours watching and actually be able
Yeah.
to do that, and I wouldn't think twice.
For sure, and honestly, that kind of goes for anybody that you see on here as somebody that, like, I would love to be able to be a viewer the same way I was when I was working from home. Like when I was
Right.
working from home with teaching, I had 3 hours of face to face with the kids on Zoom calls. Like, I obviously had to do
Yep.
lesson plans and stuff, but I can have Twitch up when I'm doing my lesson plans. I can be
Yep.
lurking a stream while I'm doing my marking and stuff. Now that I'm literally out of my house, I get up. I'm out of the house at 7:30. I don't get home till 4 o'clock.
Yep.
I stream at 6, so like I have a little bit of time, and then after my stream, it's
Yeah.
like sometimes I make TikTok, sometimes I haven't been able to because I'm just too tired and I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
So the time is so limited now. I would love to be in chats all the time, but it's true. Like when I started streaming, and kind of when you did too, we had a captive audience of viewers. Like when I started getting big into Twitch for the first time was when COVID started and all the leagues got put on pause and there was no
Right,
live
yeah.
sports to watch. So I was like, okay, well I'll
Right.
watch competitive Madden because
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
the closest thing that I can get, and it's still sports related. But yeah, it's true. Now we don't have that. Stuff is opening back up. People have other options for entertainment.
Yeah.
So
And that's okay. Like that's
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. It
It's
only
good,
makes for
yeah.
me. And if I know you sense the same thing. It only makes you want to even more. If people are doing other things, it's like so when you get those big raids or those big donations, whatever it is, or you just have a good night. Like
Yeah.
I know sometimes even just having a good night with no raids or no nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes just getting 30, 40 people in there and
Yeah.
they're hanging out for a while and like
Exactly.
that's you log off going like, all right, now that's like. That,
Yeah.
we're getting you want to feel like you're improving. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't want
exactly.
to feel like you're staying
like-
in the same spot.
Exactly, and it's like for me, and hopefully you. Well, it sounds like you kind of see it the same way as if I have a stream where my views are down, but like I go 4-0 in head to head or 5-0 in head to head, I'm like, you know what? There's a gameplay positive, or sometimes I have a stream where I go 1-5 or 1-6, and I'm just like absolutely
Right.
terrible, but like.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a big day for viewers, or maybe I had some new followers or new people finding
Absolutely.
the chat that had never been there. So it's like, and if you look hard enough, you'll always be able to find one positive that you can pull from the stream, and that's kind of like
Absolutely.
it's kind of like the same way in anybody's work. If you can, it's kind of like you got to be a glass half full kind of guy.
For sure.
It's very easy to be pessimistic and be like, I want this, and it has to come, on the time frame that I expect. But
Especially when you play the game that we play. We play like one of the worst games, like
Exactly.
mentally that you can play. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, Madden is a very not only tough to play, it's tough to stream sometimes, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough.
100%.
It's not. You have to be like mentally in a different world almost because it's
Yeah.
not easy. It's not easy. And like
Yeah.
I was even saying that last night when I was streaming, like the game, I had a really rough week in leagues, you know. So it's like I'm almost like I'd rather have good vibes in the stream and the
Yeah.
gameplay be bad than the gameplay be bad and the vibes in the stream be kind of
Exactly.
lower.
And
You know
that's
what I mean?
exactly, and that's kind of one of the things. That's one of my greatest strengths as a guy who's not competitive at the game, and I really only started to take playing Madden, like trying to actually get better. Like I never, I was coach suggestions for my whole life in Madden until maybe until like 2 years ago, and it
Right.
was probably Madden 20. It was Madden 20 in December. I remember I played. That was the first year I really just played MUT all the way through, because back then I used to
Right.
play a little bit of NBA 2K. Again,
Yep.
2K I never played online. Like I just played franchises, and
Right.
I like doing the fantasy draft and then redo the fantasy draft again and try to get young players on my team.
Absolutely. For sure.
I played MLB The Show. I played. I got big into Fallout. Whenever Fallout 4 came out, I got big into that game. So I was playing other games. Madden was always my go-to, but it was like I was like more of a franchise guy, offline franchise guy. And I think it was December of Madden 20 that year when I had started, watching Twitch more, and I was in Shopmaster stream. It was a Madden live stream, and I had like a 97 overall team. I had just started using my middle linebacker like 6 days before. So like, first of all, that was like, oh my god, this is crazy. It was so hard using at first because you're like, I'm just used to pressing square on the D line and just whatever happens. But and I was playing against Shopmaster. I was like, nobody could see me. I was in his stream. I had his stream up. I was watching on mobile, and my hands were like shaking. I was like, "Oh my god, there's so much pressure." So I never would have thought that it would go to being in front and having my own chat to talk to. It's kind of a weird thing. So Shopmaster was my first taste of that, but like my greatest strength of being like a kind of an average player is like I'm above average. I'll say that. I think
That's where I put myself too. That's where I put myself.
Yeah, you're high. I can tell you for a fact you're above average. You're a good player. You're a good player.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
My problem is just like either it's just little things, you know what I mean? Whether it's just like poor clock management or the defense or whatever. It really just comes down to little things, man.
Yeah.
And I've gone through the same thing of recent. It's like I played I don't know if you know who Young Kiv is. He's
Oh yeah.
I played him this past weekend. It's like you get like, oh my god, like you know what I mean? And like he beat me, of course, but like even just to be able to somewhat compete with these guys, it's like wow, it's like you almost take a step back and it's like what can I do to get better at the game? Even if and a lot of what I'm seeing, a lot of like really good players right now.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like my Twitter feed is full of guys that are kind of at their wits' end a little bit. Young Kiv, that's definitely a name I know from MCS. That would have been the sexiest man on Twitch. That guy's always got he's always got like a $1,400 pair of jeans on every time I've seen him. He definitely he was probably wearing like a fancy turtleneck when he was playing you too.
Yes,
just like he was on MCS.
I went into a stream after we played and I said GG, and he's just kind of he's got his own swag about him. He'd be doing it. He's doing his own thing.
Yeah,
but.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Like that's kind of crazy. And like for me, obviously on current gen, I don't match up with demons this year, especially. Last year, I never even really matched up with like the cream of the crop. Like I would match up with some guys that I knew who were comp, but like they were not the guys you would see on MCS events necessarily. But it does seem like guys like you seem to match up with big names of guys that I watch their streams. Chuflaka seems to match up with like the same guys that you're matching up with, like these demons. Like it I wonder, like, what is this algorithm? Why do certain people match up with, like, literally the entire MCS Top 100 every weekend league? Man. Obviously, like, the record helps. Like, if you have a good record, you can match these guys.
Even yesterday, for me playing the MCS games, man, I played 3 games with guys that, at that point, we finished 10th on the day. You know what I mean? It's like, you're playing guys that are, like, well, especially during the MCS. I mean, people are going to take weekend league serious, but you involve, guys like Bo's just stupid good fucking players.
Oh yeah.
Playing at a level that like you're talking money. You're not just talking Madden. You're talking like these guys are playing for salaries.
Oh yeah, no for sure. And at his age too, he's I think 17 now. Like Bo's is. Yeah. Honestly, I love the guy. I think he's great for the Madden community. Like a lot of people. This is kind of a side note, but he won the council invitational. Like so, we put together that pro invitational. Just a couple weeks ago, and we were kind of looking at the list, and it was all like these names that I was like, oh my god, are you serious? Like these guys are going to do it. I mean, if you put up enough money, the comp guys will all do it, like they'll play the Tositas Fiesta, version of these tournaments. But, Vo's played against some of these sweats, and he's I always look because he's always on the leaderboards, or at least last year when we were both playing current gen at the beginning of the year. You know, you always see him at the top. His win percentage is insane. It's like
Yeah.
in order to not lose, like factor in DCs too. It's like
Yes,
how do
and,
you just
like
consistently?
these guys that go 25-0, I literally sit there on Monday or Tuesday
Yeah.
morning to check where I finished or whatever, and I just sit there. I'm like, how do you like how?
Yeah.
It's just that
The
they're
killer
just in
instinct
another-
is
They're just
different.
they're in another world, man. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? They're just in another world. Like
For
he
sure.
beat J-Ball. Like J-Ball
Yeah.
is just
Psycho,
disgusting.
yeah.
Like he's disgusting. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
100%.
It's like they hit, and that's why I want to believe in my head. I could be someday. You know what I mean? If I do
Yeah.
things like, hey, maybe when you play weekend league, instead of putting down a 12 pack or whatever,
Yeah.
maybe you actually like seriously try to
Yeah.
lock in the game and play it.
Oh man, you would certainly like here's, you always have to balance out, you know.
For sure.
You can be both. Like I know W's talked about
Absolutely.
you can be a competitive guy and you can be a streamer. You can do both.
Yep.
It is possible.
Yep.
Obviously
For sure.
it's easier. Like I know for the super competitive guys, the labbing and the late night Discord calls is a real deal. Like putting in hours that nobody else
Yes.
sees
Yes,
and you don't even
absolutely.
reveal it to anyone. That's a grind that the way my life is, I could never do it just because
Right.
I won't have time. I can't put in the hours. But I think you could definitely be take that leap as a player and get to that
I
next
appreciate them.
level for sure, man. No,
And-
I just know that you're like. I think the biggest compliment you can give a Madden player is that you're a sweat. Like you're an absolute sweat, and that's a good thing. It's not like a try
Yeah.
hard. It's like legitimately like
Right.
you will put up a fight in every game you play, which is more than I
Yeah.
can say. I'll curl up into a fetal position.
Like I said, bro. Like I said to you before we even started, I'm like, you gotta give yourself more credit, man. I when I watch you, I never see you go out there and get 21 skunked. At least not often.
No, not often, but it
you
does
think,
happen.
Not often
Yeah.
as you think, but no.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's taken a lot of spamming Gokeezy's ebook, like or past ebooks to get there, and I still don't have the understanding of the game. Like like for me, for example, like a good player, Hot Row Master is completely necessary. You need it.
Right,
For me,
right.
it serves no purpose because I have no idea what I can't see something and be like I'm gonna ad lib.
Right.
I see this coverage, I'm gonna put this route out there. I have no idea what's
Right.
going on. So for me. Hot Row Master, I don't even need it. I go gunslinger and just run my set cheese plays.
Yeah.
But that would obviously be the next step. So hopefully this year maybe I can get serious and try to.
For sure. I
At
mean,
least
it's
get to
always
the-
an understanding thing, man. Like
Yeah.
for years, like when I was younger, like I didn't know what nickel meant.
Yeah,
You know?
100%,
I didn't know
yeah.
I didn't know what like this stuff meant. So it's like but there's so many little things, man, that I think you can do to just not only make yourself better, but just more consistent.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I struggle with. Like I know I can play well. You know you can play well. It's just a matter of consistency. I've seen
Yeah.
you have crazy good starts to weekend league. And
Yeah.
I've done the same. Like literally, like 2 weeks ago, I started off 10-1, and
Yeah.
I only won 17 games. Like that's
Yeah.
just,
I had an 11-1. I had an 11-1 start, and I swear I won
Yeah.
15 games. Like it was like just the second half was off a cliff. And I was like, I was like, oh wow, I can finally put my weekend league record in my stream title.
Yeah.
And then it was horrible. And the worst
Yeah.
part is that I streamed the most of the second half of that weekend league, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
I find now that the funny thing is for weekend league, I feel like I actually play better in weekend league on stream than I do off stream now. Like, because it's hard for me to
100%.
focus off stream. Like, I can't focus on weekend league off stream because I'm not. It's just it gets monotonous. But like if chats get me fired up, then it's like I actually want to fight a little bit.
Yes.
Which is I never had that before. I'm not an
If
uber
you're used
competitive
to,
guy.
if you're playing it offline, you don't got people to your left or right, wherever you got your second
Yeah.
monitor going, let's go, or like let's go,
Yeah.
go block in, or Murph, let's go. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it's so weird how much you get used to
Yeah.
and accustomed to that, or seeing emotes. When you score a touchdown,
Yeah.
you got the boss emote. Like that's stuff,
Exactly.
like it goes into the game more than people think it does.
It does for sure, and there's times when the game, like if your chat's moving a mile a minute and you're just playing like head to head on a Monday or something, like there's times where you'll probably lose more games due to it because you're not
Right.
super locked in. There's nothing on the line,
For sure.
so you'll take a couple losses. You'll forget to like set your zone drops or whatever. But like in weekend league when everybody's kind of there to see a little bit more competitive, it is a different vibe,
Right,
which is
right.
a lot of fun. But
See, I
yeah,
I
go
noticed
ahead.
with you though, like you always keep it rolling though, man. Like you could be in like a big situation, you're always at least giving a look, like like all right, let me see you.
I try to. I got to get a third.
You do.
Yeah, I've seen these guys like some of these stream setups. Like I already feel like having a PC like that was a big investment for me, and it was something that really if my other PC hadn't died, I wouldn't have gotten it. Like I would have just toughed it out on my old PC, but it
Right.
fried. I lost everything on that one, so I really couldn't afford the PC, but I'm so glad that I have it now. And now it's like I need to get like one of those skinny monitors. Like I see these guys with
Yes,
the little
yeah.
rectangle monitor. I didn't even know these things existed, but like I
Yeah.
love looking at people's stream setups. Like it's like one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Because then I could have, chat up on one, and then I could still have, the
Yep.
that would be the next level. But I'm always looking.
Yeah.
My wife knows now. It's like every Christmas, anniversary, birthday. It's like, what little toy can I get for my
Yes,
stream setup?
absolutely. Little upgrades, yeah,
Yeah.
man, no, for sure. And I hope to get to that point one day too.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you before stream, like I stream laptop, man. Like and to be
Yeah.
able to even just do kind of what I've been doing is like wild to me. Like I have a second monitor that I read my chat on, and I just hook
Yeah.
an HDMI from my laptop to the second monitor just so I can have just that feeling of like
Yeah.
having that double monitor setup, man. Because it is really cool. Because like some people say it's like wow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
Wow.
it goes to show too that you really don't need to have all the obviously the more we get into it and the more we get passionate about streaming, like for guys like our channels are pretty much the same size at this point. Like it's it's nice to have all these things, but you don't need that to start streaming. If there's anybody who's in the chat or watching this video on YouTube, like pretty much everybody starts off with a bare bones setup, unless you're a comp pro belt winner. Like, I started out streaming on my PS4. I had to go out and buy a camera. They didn't even really have many cameras because it was COVID and everybody was starting to stream.
So I had same thing, man. Same thing, bro.
I had
It's
to
crazy.
overpay. I had to pay well above the value because I got it on
Yeah.
Amazon and I wanted to
Yep.
stream for the CFM. And,
Yeah.
I would have my Spotify open or my Nightbot SongQuest open on my laptop. And I would just have like the crappy laptop speakers. I would put it up to 100
Yes.
volume. And then I have my
Yes,
chat.
yeah.
My chat was on my cell phone. I was sitting on my couch over there. It was like, but it worked, and I was able to build the base of my followers came from
Absolutely.
those initial months. And like you built your channel on a laptop. Imagine, if you keep investing in the stream and keep doing your thing, it's only going to get better. And
Absolutely, man.
at the same time, I remember when I first got my PC, and it was a quiet month of Madden. I was like, oh man, my views have gone down when I got all these investments in the stream. But like, it's just like you want to take pride in. For me, it's now about like, okay, what can look better on my stream? What can I do a better job of? So I'm always trying to put out something that I'm proud of, and if people like it, then that's great. If not, I'm still going to try and make it better. Same way that you're always trying to improve your stream.
The same thing. That's why I haven't jumped yet on the TikTok, because like the stuff that I was working with, I was like, all right, this doesn't look. I'm not gonna post something if I don't think it looks or sounds right. You know what I mean? So, and like you're just saying, like putting stuff through the speakers, man. Like the first 2 months streaming, I did it on the PS4. And I used to play music through these speakers. And it just, I knew it sounded awful.
Yeah.
But like but it's where you come from, man. And like for you to say, where you're at, and for me to say where I'm at, and just be like, wow, we both came like a long way, man.
100%. It's crazy to think like from just a short time grinding, or it's amazing how much work you put into it, and hopefully people kind of can see that and appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
And kind of along those lines, I was going to ask, like, what are some of your goals as a streamer, or goals like just in general? What are some of the things you're looking to work towards the next little while?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it's always. I mean, I think you probably can speak for the same mark. That's like, I think we all shoot for Twitch partner one day.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I think that's like the goal. I mean, even though like we talked about a little bit ago, it's like, yeah, you get the check mark, but the work's not even close to being done. So I mean, I guess for me, it's just like setting little marks, like hitting 2K. That was awesome for me. Like I got really emotional with it, because it's just crazy to think that 2,000 people. Hit the follow button. You know what I mean?
It's wild. It really is.
So it's just like I don't really, I couldn't give you a set like goal or a set time period, because like I could be like, oh, I want to hit whatever number by the end of 2022. But it's like, I don't know. You don't know where you're gonna be at. So I mean, I guess if I had to just put it and give you a direct answer, Twitch partner would be where I want to be at. But you don't know, man. I could be sitting, here, October 3rd, 2022, and either at that point or still needing work. I say it on my stream all the time. If it takes me 4 years from right now to get to that point, I'm here for it.
Exactly. That's a super refreshing like mindset. And, it's easy to look at Twitch as a business, but like if it's something that you're passionate about and enjoy, it's like how many people would just say put a time limit on achieving something that's important to them, right? Like it's good to realize that it's a process, and you're having fun. Like you said, like when you're streaming, it's a party. Like you're having fun in the process.
It is.
So it's kind of a win-win situation. Like I am a believer. Like I think for guys like you who are dedicated to it and who have talent and have taken the time to build up a community of people that love you and want to support you, you will get there eventually. It's going to happen when it happens. It might happen in one crazy month, or it might
Yeah,
happen
for sure.
over time. Like there's still people on Twitch. There's guys like Swain Games. I'll just say Swain is a guy who was Madden Live, amazing community that absolutely loves the hell out of him. And he's not partnered yet. Like there's names out there that
Like,
have done everything to earn it
personally,
and they don't have it.
one of my favorite non
Yeah.
Twitch partner streamers is Evo. I absolutely love
Yes.
Biggie. I absolutely love
Bro,
sitting down.
yes.
I tell him and you two are like the top two I watch. But
I appreciate
every
that,
time I
man.
can get a chance, I try to tell him I'm like I don't get a lot of Twitch like time as a viewer, but like
Yeah.
if I see him live, I am there for him, man.
I agree. Evo's and he'll appreciate it. He'll appreciate that for sure. Like Evo's a guy who's like and I think I remember it might have been Fendler. Like how they have those posts like talent versus recognition kind of thing, and he's one of those
That's
guys
right.
that I see. I saw Fendler type it. Like he's one of those guys who's super talented. He's got a great stream setup. He's really good at the
Absolutely.
game. He's super charming. Great haircut. Great beard.
Yes, I tell him all the
he's-
time, like, dude,
yeah.
you are like the most handsome man on Twitch next to Kid, bro. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
like,
no, he's
I
awesome.
told him
and-
like I'm stealing that haircut, bro. I'm trying to get the fade. Like I'm like, dude,
Yeah. And I'm
good
just
as
glad
fuck.
that he's been grinding. Like, I think he just hit 2,000 a little while
Yes,
ago.
he
And
did.
I remember seeing for months, like, because I feel like I can't even remember how I got introduced to Big Evo in the first place, but I remember instantly I was like, yeah, this guy's a great streamer and somebody I always tune into. And he was an example for a while where I was like, those guys where it just seems like the amount of love they get is not nearly enough for like, it's like if anybody could just get people into the stream, they will love it. And I feel like that about a lot of people on Twitch, that like there's people out there who are incredibly talented content creators and they just don't get that one big break. Like
Right.
for me, for example, I had a couple days ago, Skimbo rated my channel, which is
yes, I know, dude. I missed that, and I
Yeah.
saw your tweet, or I think I called like the aftermath of like
Yeah.
towards the end of your night, and I
Yeah.
was like, dude, that's so awesome. I got a read
It's
from
crazy.
him when I was towards the end of M21. It's like,
that's
wow,
awesome,
like
man.
with that name, it's like, wow. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's a
Like-
guy who like I find obviously his setup is incredible. His resume speaks for itself. Like, and he's a super chill guy.
He is.
I love watching his streams. I actually started watching his streams a lot during MLB, which I was playing
Yes,
Madden,
yes.
but I was tired of watching Madden, so I was watching him play
watch it.
MLB. And it's stuff like that. Like I just wish that, and I think giving drops to all streamers is obviously
Important.
Madden Live would be a nice kick for like the guys that are close
Right.
to getting that
For
partner
sure.
check mark. It would obviously be a huge support to get a whole bunch of followers at once.
For
But
sure.
I think the fact that anybody can get drops this year on certain weekends is a good thing.
Yes.
So people don't feel like they have to only stick with those top few streamers. But I just hope that if you just do your best work on stream for anybody who's like an up and coming streamer, like just
Right.
you gotta be on the ball all the
Yes.
time doing your best, because you
Yes.
never know when that big moment's gonna come that might change everything for you.
Like that's a guy that I used to literally watch in the MCSs. Like that's a
Yeah.
guy I've seen win at a high ass level. You know what I mean? So it's
Exactly.
like, wow. Just like
Yeah.
no one. It's like
That's
he
a guy
knows
who was
you
literally a
are,
coach
whatever.
in the Madden video game. You could literally put him as a coach. Like how crazy is that?
And to think that he's been in your stream and communicated, or
Yeah.
even if he just drops a bomb, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
I got a raid from Austin Eckler a few months ago.
That's
that was
dope
like the
too,
most-
yeah.
That was like the most coolest thing because I didn't even know he was a streamer, and like I just saw it's like Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's just a fanboy, and then it turns out it's actually him. It's just like, wow, it's so cool
Yeah.
when you can just meet
It's
people
nuts.
like that. He knows who I am. I was like, all right, he's on my fantasy team this year.
Oh yeah, and like for sure, and like Joe Mixon's another one I've seen raiding people around the community.
Yes,
I know It's Live, obviously. Darrington is like
Yes,
really,
yeah.
he's really become like a part of the community. Like he really embraced it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's talking like he's been talking like guys like Fend, and I think he was on Fend's stream as
During the 24-hour, they played a friendly.
Yes.
Like he's
Yes.
definitely it's cool to see, like, because in Twitch it's like you're not guaranteed just because you're a pro athlete. He's
Right.
got to grind through the whole process like the rest of us.
Absolutely.
Like he's going back to learning about his stream setup, and he
Absolutely.
it's not like, I was gonna say not everybody does that. Like Snoop Dogg streams. Snoop Dogg's incredibly entertaining to watch for different
Or
reasons.
T-Pain.
Yeah, T-Pain. and T-Pain, like you look at a guy like T-Pain, he puts a lot into his stream. Like he's not just putting his name on it and expecting people to be in there. He puts a lot into his stream. Snoop Dogg, on the other hand, I love I think he's hilarious. He just comes out in a robe and he does not know who's in his chat. But that's also kind of cool
He
too.
doesn't care. He's just doing it because he can. Like,
Yeah.
same with- I think Soldier Boy does too. It's like he's just doing it. He can. Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it.
It's like, why not? If you don't mind being in the public eye, it's like, why not? It's not for everybody, but it's definitely a cool thing.
No, That's another thing, man. I don't think guys like even get like you were saying about streamers that don't get credit. Guys, credit where it should be at a
Yeah,
high level. It's like these guys put in so much time, including me and me and you. It's like we just put in so much time, and you got to think that our big moment is going to be here. Whether
yeah,
it's tomorrow, next month, next year, 2 years, like
exactly.
whatever amount of time it takes, man. I'll be here for it. I know you will be too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's if you love what you do, it's not working, right? So like, keep it up,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
I think if you just keep doing things exactly the same you're doing and continue to improve and continue to just stay positive, you're gonna get there for sure, man.
I
And
really appreciate it, man. Trust me. That, like I said, when you first sent me that DM, and the amount of like excitement I got, like I'm just telling everybody about it. People in my life that like my sister and stuff, like people that
I
like
appreciate
maybe
that, man.
not,
That's
you know what I mean?
awesome.
Like people that maybe not know directly who you are, but just talk about it. It's like, man, it's just like stuff like
Yeah.
this or like why you do it. It really is
Yeah,
like stuff like
I
this is
appreciate the howdy,
why.
man. That's awesome. That means a lot to me. And like honestly, I could tell like for the people in the chat that are still hanging out here, they've been here from the beginning. Like we obviously I slept in. that was the first thing.
I
I
know. I was
slept
sitting there. I was
in.
like, oh man. I was like, I thought I was gonna be
Yeah,
late because after the Giants game, my brother was at his girlfriend's house. I had
yeah,
like an hour of kill time. I'm like, I gotta go have a beer with him.
yeah. Oh
He
no,
didn't
hundred
watch the game,
percent.
so I was like, I gotta go celebrate the game.
Yeah, for
Just
me,
me and the little one, so I had to go celebrate
exactly.
with him.
I was telling Kov like after the Vikings lost, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a little depression nap and just get myself back. I was like, I set my alarm for like 40 minutes. I was gonna take a 40-minute power nap, and then I just clearly just pressed snooze and woke up at 6:24, 24 minutes into where I was supposed to be. When the graphic and the advertising for the stream said I was gonna go live, and luckily you were super cool about it. Like I was like,
For sure,
if
man.
you had decided that you were going to do other stuff, I would have you would have been in the right there. But you were cool about it, and
No,
we hopped in
absolutely.
Discord.
I was so excited, bro. I was
Yeah,
so excited to even just sit down and have it. Because, like I said, it's one thing for I be streaming, you're talking to me in chat
yeah,
and whatever, but like to just stay here and actually like
yeah.
face to face, like kind of have a conversation, man. It's I would not trade this opportunity of
Oh,
being here for anything, man.
it,
Seriously.
it was awesome. I could tell like we had to go through our like technical difficulties figuring out how to set up
Yes,
the audio
yes.
like both on both ends. Like for example, like I was going to switch my camera, like I'm still kind of looking off to the side like I was last week because
Right,
I think
right,
because I opened up my video in Discord, I couldn't my one camera got sucked out of my Streamlabs. Like so I was like,
yeah,
okay, I had to, we had to work it
right,
out on the fly, but I could already tell we spent about 20 minutes in Discord, and I could already tell it was going to be
yeah,
a great conversation.
yeah.
And here it is, like we've gone like well over an hour and a half, like almost an hour and 45 minutes. Like that's insane to me, and it feels like we've just been talking for 5. So yeah,
Yes,
incredibly easy to talk to, man, and
I appreciate it, man.
I'm just like super grateful that you came on here, and I'm excited to put this thing up on YouTube and just have it out there for people to watch if they have an hour and 45 minutes free. It just pop it on and give
Right,
it a look.
right.
But
There's a lot that gets discussed. You know what I mean? Whether
for
it
sure,
doesn't have to be just Madden sports. It can just be just anything, man. And I think
yeah.
we have everything. I think we both wanted to talk about. So
Yeah, man,
absolutely.
and that's like kind of where I wanted to end off because I know you're a busy person. Are you streaming later tonight? Or are you
I'm gonna try to. I really want to tap into this Bucks Pats game. I'm just
Yeah,
eager
yeah,
to see how Tom plays. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get some head-to-head games and because just the
beauty.
disappointment of weekend league. I want to get it right.
Yeah,
It's a
so
grind,
then you
man.
can
Get
start
it
off your
right.
Monday on the right foot. Like yeah, for sure. I get you.
Absolutely, man.
I'm
Absolutely.
in the same boat. I want to get a little bit of head to head in. I probably at this point we've been going for a while. I might just see if I can get my CFM matchup in after this, and maybe we'll play one head to head, and hopefully I win, or else I'll be miserable. But yeah, I was gonna say, is there anything that we didn't touch on, or anything that you wanted to leave people with? I mean, you did a great job summing up, your goals and whatnot. What would you anything you want to leave the chat with?
No, man, I just it's not that we have to add anything to it, but it's just if you talk to me on a personal level, like it's been a really rough year for me. I mean, I know a lot of
Yeah,
people have gone through a lot of things this year,
yeah,
and I talk about it a lot, but when I say streaming has really changed my life, it really has changed my life. Like, and it really in retrospect for me, where I am like right now, it's saved me, man. I've gone through, like I said, a lot of I guess trauma would be the word, whether
yeah.
it's
Of
family
course.
stuff or being a single dad,
Yeah,
and it's not easy, man. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
just want to end on the point that it's like I have so much appreciation for the community. Not only just in Madden because there's so many people like you and Evo and all these others. There's
yeah,
too many names. There's too many
yeah.
names to sit here and just
Oh
try to
yeah,
list
hundred
them all. You know
percent.
what I mean? But just being able to just sit here and have even just a little bit of following that I have in just 15 months streaming, like I could not trade it for anything else in the world. And I'm super grateful. I really am. So I just want to say thank you, not only just to you for inviting me on this podcast to kind of get a little bit more info about me, because I feel like everyone always gets like, oh, Cole's this and that, and
yeah.
You know what I mean. But no, I do have a lot that I can share with people. Like I have a really big family up here in New York, man. We try to be the best we can as people, and I try to carry that same energy as a streamer as well, because it's a respect thing, man. I always grew up, you gotta be respectful to people.
100%, man.
You never know what anybody's going through, man. So just to add on to that, it's like this year, and I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of stuff, whether it's whatever, COVID related stuff or family stuff or work stuff. There's so many things that are going on in the world right now that are pretty wild. It makes stuff like this really hit at home for me, because I have so much appreciation and respect, not only like to you, but just all the communities out here that have showed me love and respect. Because I say it 100 times in my chat, but I really am just a kid from upstate New York that just loves Madden. Like that's it. That's
the tagline, man. That's got to be the King Cov tagline. Kid from upstate New York who plays Madden. I love it, man. And honestly, that message really hits home. And I think if you were to go out and do a survey of 95% of people who started streaming during COVID, it has been largely a super positive thing, and to the point where it's true. I really don't know where I would be without it. Like it's I never thought that an online video game related platform could be that important to keeping our sanity, but I totally feel like that this community is a blessing, and people like you, man, it really is just amazing to have been able to sit down with you. And I hope that we get to do this again sometime, because honestly, I feel like we could keep going. We could make this a 6-hour podcast.
For sure, man.
But then nobody would watch. But hey, it would still be fun to do.
Hey, man, like just doing this, it felt so free. It felt so open. Like I literally just feel like we're just in a room having a conversation.
Absolutely, man.
And that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the beauty of technology. Once we figured out the Discord, it was like it is like we're sitting in a living room, just talking, chatting up.
Hey, man, maybe one day I'll be able to shake your hand. We'll be able to share.
100%, man. There's so many upstate New York and Buffalo streamers. Like we got to do something. It's got to happen. Like 2022 has got to be the year. I think it's still tough to cross the border.
Maybe like spring or summertime of next year, we'll have to organize something and see where.
Absolutely.
And who knows where we're all at.
Yeah. We'll all be partnered and rich by then, I think.
Hopefully. We'll have a streamer mansion. We'll all be living in the same mansion.
Exactly, right? Yeah, for sure. The hype house. But hey, man, appreciate you coming through. Thank you so much for spending time, man. That's episode 2 is a wrap now for Around the Yellowhorn. These things are crazy. I had no idea where the podcast was going to go, but I definitely want to keep doing this. I've got guests. I talked to Cov. You better keep it a secret. I talked to Cov about some of the guests that we got coming up, for the next month or so. But we got our lineup all the way through November at this point. So I'm going to start teasing it out, and I'll put this video up so it'll come up tomorrow morning on YouTube. So I'll hype the shit out of it, and anybody who wasn't here and wants to know more about King Cov, it'll be out there for you. Or anybody who came in late too. But hey, appreciate the hell out of you, man. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll be in touch. I'll be in your stream. I'll see you on the Twitch.
I'll be if you're staying live for a little bit. I'll be hanging out with you, man.
Hey, appreciate you, my dude.
Thank you so much, man, for everything. Like I said, we definitely. One thing I want to say, we need to get a 1v1 in. At some point.
Do.
We
do.
I don't know when we're gonna see each other in the CFL. We don't play this season. I just want to add, we need to.
It's true. I'll tell you what. It sure as hell is not going to be the NFC Championship game, because I'm not making it that far. I might not make the playoffs, but we definitely do. We can definitely set up a friendly, and as long as you don't mind playing current gen, that's
not at all, man.
Beautiful, man. We will set it up for sure, and I'll hype it up. I'll put it out on Twitter if we can get.
All right, buddy. All right,
appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much, bro. I really do appreciate it just being here.